You know which character has been in all the Star Wars movies? R2D2. It's time to give him some love. Here we go. Why a Pringles box, you say? I initially planned to make him stand off a bit, like not flat on the ground as you saw it at the beginning, but sadly I chickened out. So my plan changed to make this just the base for the cake. If you remember my basic vanilla cake video, this is the one I was planning for. You can watch that video up here and of course read in the description below. I had it in the freezer and thawed it out when I needed it. As you can see, it is a perfect fit with the box. I mark where I need to cut it down and make a thin strip to support the structure. I wish I had left half of that cardboard so that I could have done my initial idea, but oh well. We live, we learn. Then I whip up my white chocolate ganache to make it super sweet. Of course, you can use any kind of filling you like, but I felt like ganache again. The recipe for the ganache is in the description as well. Whip it until it changes color. Then it is time for a makeover of our cake. I trim off the excess and in general just even it out. Then I just use my lovely serrated knife to cut out the layers. And this step you should do before you cut the layers, which is basically an indicator to keep our cake level and not like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Then cover the base with the ganache and add the layers one by one. I didn't want to add too much ganache into each layer as it is really sweet and I don't need to overdo it, right? When the stacking is done, I crumb coat it and off into the fridge. As my base is not completely flat on the bottom, I use some Putterfix to keep it on my Lazy Susan. Then, with a fast hand, I cover the cake with my white fondant and carefully work around the cake to get it all even. Sadly, I wasn't careful enough and have some elephant skin in one or two places. Cut the edge off with a bit of an allowance and then let's mark where the upper part of our lovely robot's gonna be. After that, I brush on some silver luster dust. I'm so disappointed that it is not showing as much as it did in real life. I really need to get a decent camera. Here it is barely visible even though I worked it in quite a bit. Even had to use my hand as a shield so that the dust doesn't go all over the lower part. But oh well. You can always use some grey fondant if you want to, or even just any other kind of grey food coloring. Then comes the cutting of the many panels it has. I'm actually surprised that I got that semicircle out so decently. I realized that while editing, to be honest. If I ever wanted it to be this decently curved, it wouldn't be. Not in one piece anyways. When I had all my pieces cut out, I started placing them in the right places. One blob on the top, which I attached with a teeny bit of water, and all the upper thingies which get the same treatment. I didn't get all the angles just right, so I'm cutting away whenever it is needed on the cake itself. Dangerous, but what you gonna do? For its front piece, I wanted it to get a nice round eye, so I just used one of my piping tips to first mark it in the right place and then add the black blob to make it fit just right. Now it gets a bit repetitive as I'm just adding many panels all around him. Here I'm glad that I'm working on a small cake, otherwise, oh boy, I would have needed to cut a lot of things afterwards to get it right in the decent shape. For R2D2's front cover, it gets a nice little lighter blue on the dark blue. And stupid me tries to correct the shapes of that on the dark blue. I wasn't happy how the lower one looked like, so I flattened it out a bit to make it more even. I'm not sure if that helped, to be honest. After I put it in its place, it gets its stripes, or rather, I guess, exhausts. Like I said, I chickened out. So I cut the wafers I got into the size of our little R2D2 and rounded them off to make them look just right. Then just get it covered in white fondant as well, and ta-da! You get yourself some robot legs. I plan ahead a lot. but sometimes plans just don't work out the way I want them to be. So, yeah. I'm sorry, but we grow with our experiences and mistakes. This channel is my journey in these experiences, so I hope you enjoyed that. Speaking of enjoying, let me know if you liked the new Star Wars movie. I haven't had the chance to watch it yet, but let's just say I don't have my hopes up considering the previous entry. Which movie do you like the best? Let me know in the comments below. I really dig the old school ones. Those are the best, to be honest. And not with the weird CGI added later on. Don't get me started on those. If you have liked what you've seen and want to support our channel, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you don't want to miss our next video. Thank you for watching and see you next Friday!